Hello, it is January the 18th and it's time for a January garden tour. Let me turn the camera around and I'll show you what's growing in the garden right now. I am Dave with Organic Gardening in North Carolina. And if you are interested in growing nutrient-dense food in an urban environment, you are in the right spot. Make sure that you are subscribed and click the bell so you don't miss anything. Let me get away from in front of this camera and show you what's growing in the garden. Here we go. All right, here's my garden from the top side where I usually start my tours. It is about 40 degrees today, and it's not really expected to get very warm today. Probably going to stay right around 40. And next week, I think we're going to have some more winter returning. It's going to get down into the lower 20s at night. Let's see. Here we have a little bit of garlic. And I have a row of onions here. These onions are the little bulbs that you put in the fall around here. I have some comfrey down below this fig tree that's still growing. This fig tree, I gave it a rather major pruning to see if I could make it produce this year. I think I only got like 1 or 2 figs off of it last year. So we'll see what that does. Have some weeds I need to get some more wood chips on. Need to pull the weeds back from these onions and put some wood chips down. This plant here is, I believe, a turnip. There's a few turnip. Oh wait, that's a turnip, but this is a Daikon Radish. You can tell that because it has the radish looking thing at the bottom there. Baby daikon. This is a pomegranate tree that I thought was dead, but it sprouted out last year and grew. So I'm looking forward to seeing if maybe it'll produce something this year. Have some more. I think these are daikons here too. Yeah, that's a Daikon Radish, which I'm not sure if they're going to take the cold this next week. I put some daikons underneath some fencing here. I think the squirrels like to dig around in my garden and they mess up my little tiny sprouts. Here's arugula that I had a lot of arugula seed I planted. I threw it out. This is actually a lemon tree that I planted a seed in the ground just for fun, and it still survived the winter so far. I might put a cloth across it for these cold nights and see if it'll make it. Got quite a bit of arugula there. Look at this, my Goji Berry still has a few leaves on. Goji seems to be able to take quite a bit of cold. That's another branch there of Goji Berry. Of course, it'll sprout out in the springtime. I think I've got some more Daikon radishes over here. I think that's what they are. Yeah, they are. And you can see down here, they like to pop up out of the ground. All right, we'll come around this way. Here's a volunteer peach tree that if we don't get any fruit from this year, I might just chop it down, or I might graft a known variety peach onto. It would be a pretty big rootstock by then. This thing's been growing 2 or 3 years. It just came up from a pit that I had in the compost probably. Here's some red Russian Kale. I got some garlic bulbs here. Planted quite a bit of garlic sort of close together in this bed. Actually, they're about 6 or 8 inches apart, which is probably good to let their roots not get messed up with each other. This is my J.H. Adriatic, which I got more fruit from this tree than any other tree this last year. so I didn't prune it back. I'm planning to take some cuttings probably right in the next week here when it's so cold, because the tree should be pretty much dormant. Take some cuttings and graft those cuttings onto some of my stalks. Just plants that I put sticks in the ground and are growing pretty well. So I have more JH Adriatics. They really seem like they're doing well. See, here's something's been digging in my garden, throwing the wood chips around. Could be a bird, a squirrel, a chipmunk. But this is my little patch of cilantro, which I love cilantro. The one that I have inside this cage is actually doing better than any others because it's probably not getting disturbed as much. Ooh, what's happening there? I think this was a broccoli. Maybe it got too cold. There's a nice broccoli head. I need to pick that before it goes bad. I have some others that I'll show you that are going bad because I didn't pick them in time. And some cauliflower that probably needs picked too. Here's another volunteer peach tree that I just pruned down pretty heavily. Another row of onions here. My strawberries, I'm planning to put some wood chips over the top of them so that the strong strawberry plants will come up through, and it'll do good for keeping the weeds down. Look at that broccoli. I need to pick that one too. Looks like we need to eat some broccoli. Here's the ones I was telling you that I let go too long, and they started getting mushy in the middle there. But if you pick off if you cut off the big head, which is what you normally see in the grocery stores, there's other heads that come along later, and you can keep picking them. Plus you can keep eating these leaves for salads, greens, and whatever too. This is my garden bed that I planted in a video for my fall garden crop, actually. Fall garden video. It's got arugula. The lettuce isn't necessarily liking this colder weather. It's pretty limp. But the arugula is doing fine. Looks like I got some radishes here. Those are not daikon. Those are just red radish. Some carrots. Some onions here. More arugula. And then, of course, that's where the broccoli was planted too. More onions. I've got these little onions everywhere. They're doing really well in this bucket, which was what I had planted my competition tomato in last year, which it didn't really grow that much because I got it planted so late. But maybe I will use that same soil, which is probably decomposed a lot and didn't have many nutrients used. Might just add some more fertilizer to it and use it for growing tomato this year. Alright, let's see what else we got. Still do have some pretty good comfrey. Here's Bloody Dock. This is bedding from the rabbit cage, which I threw on top of my worm pit. If we dig down in here, we'll probably see some worms, because the worms really love this. Looks like we need some rain to get it wetter. I am seeing some worms, but if I dug down here to where the worm pit was closer, there would be tons of worms. Oh, this is actually steaming because it's doing some composting action in there, which I didn't really want. Could spread it out a little thinner, I guess, so that the worms would have more of a chance to eat it. Probably keeping the worms nice and warm though. Might be a little too warm for those worms. But there are a ton of worms down in there, I promise. We'll let them stay nice and warm. Here's another fig tree that I really chopped down quite drastically. And I might do some more trimming on that. I might actually put some of my J.H. Adriatic branches and graft them into these branches. They call that making it a Frankenstein tree with different varieties on the rootstock, because I don't know what rootstock this is, what variety. It's just one I found in a yard and brought it home. So yeah, so I trimmed that way back. Hopefully it'll do more production this year. Here's some kale. This is a flat-leafed variety. It's called Premier Kale, which I sort of like because it's nice and flat. Then here's some of the red Russian kale with the curly leaves. Here's some mosh, I think you say this, that I didn't plant, but it's come up in this area. I'm not sure if that's going to take the cold weather or not, if it's coming either. Look at these, my blackberries have buds on them. In fact, some of them are even blooming a little bit. So they're probably not gonna make it through the cold weather here. Look at that. Blooms in January 18th. So they should recover though, or those things will die and we'll get more blooms for the spring, hopefully. I don't know though, there's an awful lot of buds there. Maybe they're going to be able to take the cold. Who knows? I planted a bunch of beets here, but they didn't sprout very well. There's a beet there. Looks like that's the only one that's really showing. And here's where I did weed around the onions and threw some wood chips around them. Makes it a lot nicer look, doesn't it? And there's some Dinosaur Kale. Here's my largest Daikon Radish. God, that's a pretty big radish. I could take that in and eat it. I'm gonna try to roast them, like put them in a pan and roast them, almost like making baked potato. People have said that they're really good that way, that they're not spicy at all, but they're just really good to eat. Like drizzle them with olive oil, put some salt on them, and they're delicious. So I have to try that. Here's a Swiss chard plant. Don't recall planting that out here, but probably did, or it could have come from seeds that just came up. Here's my rattlesnake beans, which I really need to come out here. I probably should do that today. Come out here and harvest the seeds, because there's good seeds in there still. But if they keep getting wet and dry, they might not be good all winter. This is January 2020. What I'm going to do for you guys is I'm going to put up in this corner up here my playlist of my garden tours from 2019. So if you want to see what my garden looked like in January 2019, just click on that link and you'll get the playlist. If you keep watching, you'll get to watch the whole year of my garden tours. My garden tours have actually been some of my most popular videos. Speaking of my most popular videos, I will put a link on that side to my most popular videos. The first one in there is how to eat a peach, which I have no idea why that is my most popular video, but it is. So that's a playlist of my most popular videos. So if you're bored and need something to do, you can watch those and let me know how you like them. Alright, thanks for watching. Have a blessed day, and I'll talk to you all again real soon. I'm going to go ahead and give you a view of my kale for 20 seconds so those end screens can pop up for you. All right, have a blessed day.